My next grow is also a common microgreen, and it's the black oil sunflower. And it's the most common sunflower grown. And what I've got here is about 125 grams of pre-soaked black oils. And let me get it out. Now I've soaked these for 8 hours and then primed them like I show how to do in the book, in my microgreens book. And the reason why you have to prime sunflower seeds is because they're the most fungus prone microgreen that I've ever grown hydroponically. And I finally figured out that it's not the seed lot. It is almost all sunflowers are this way. It's just, I don't know if it's the hull or husk or whatever, but it is, or the harvesting, I don't know what it is, but it is. These things are always super dusty and dirty, and they harbor the disease. And I think that various types of disease and fungus is on the shell itself. So I found that priming the seed is significantly reduces, if not eliminates, fungus problems when growing hydroponically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cover on it here, and I'm going to put a reservoir tray on top of this clear just to keep some of the light out. Now the lights here are on only because I'm filming. Otherwise it's going to be like this. I've got a grow light over here to my left, but it's going to be mostly in the dark. Now you can get another grow here, put a face towel or a hand towel, whatever you want to call that type of towel, the medium-sized towels, over the top of that, and it'll work just as well, if not better. Typically, one of these Amazon trays only needs a single aquarium pump. I've got this one here. It's a little bit stronger, but I'm also running 2 kits with it. So yeah, it's real easy to do, to run the bubbler, and very inexpensive. One of the things that happens with sunflowers is that in all seed holes, once the plants start germinating, is they begin to deteriorate. Now I treated this seed ahead of time. I'm not worried about mold growing, but as a precaution, like I've mentioned in my last 2 books, it's a good idea with sunflowers to rinse them a couple times. And so what I do is I just take the tray out off the bubbler assembly and put it in another tray, and I just carry it to the sink. And you know, a little sprayer that most sinks have, you just put it on low and you just kind of rinse it like this. Now this is what the water looks like, or the nutrient water. That's nutrient water, and that's what's feeding the roots of these sunflowers. This is what it looks like after day 2. And that's because the bubbler is generating humidity. The humidity is getting all of this and over all these seeds, and it's dripping back down. And this darkening is because of the black seed holes, and there's even little pieces in it, and that's just deterioration. I'm pretty sure, now I haven't grown sunflowers in this yet, in this particular tray, but I have seen where it wouldn't be an issue to go ahead and leave this. But what I do typically is I'll rinse it like on day 2 or 3, and then a couple days later, and that's all I do. And it's real quick to take it out, rinse it in the sink real quick, put it back in, and just add new fresh liquid for the sunflowers to grow in. And add just a touch bit of fresh water, and I just take a paper towel and wipe it out. No need to thoroughly clean. So I've got this little garden container here, and this is full of nutrient, and it's got a little small end on the front. It's just real easy just to add some nutrient back in to fill it to the right levels. And then I think I mentioned this, but I've got if I overfill it by a little bit, then I just got this little what the heck? Syringe. It's one of them days again. Anyway, I got this huge syringe that I'll take some of the water out just like so, and put it back in that container I just showed you. So let's get the sunflowers back on there and continue growing. Let's take a look at the sunflowers today. You can see the cotyledons are starting to pop out of the shells. I'm going to hit it with the antifungal, and I will also check the reservoir level here to see how high it is and add some more, and then I'll be done for the day. They're not ready to take the lid off yet and expose it to the light. I need to be a little bit taller. I think a lot's changed since yesterday. I can see that the lid is lifting. So let's take a, oh yeah, look at that. Isn't that neat? The ones that are bent here a little bit, they will pop out and spread evenly here very shortly. So I'm going to take this off. Look at all the holes on there. H-U-L-L-S, holes. They are coming off nicely, and that's because they're in a damp environment. And the majority of these will pop off on their own, real simply. Once they start drying out now, which I'm going to leave them in the light. I can't remember if I said that or not. I'm going to leave them in the light, and from this point forward, just fill the reservoir as needed. But once the holes start to dry out, they become real sticky and difficult to pull off if they're still attached before the cotyledon spreads and pops. So a lot of times I can't help myself. It's like an addictive thing. I'll take and pull some of these off a little bit right now. So yeah, it'll take a minute to pull some of these off if I really wanted to, but I don't have to. So I had some nutrient in the reservoir down here, and the bubbler's going. The sunflowers are kind of the, to me, the problem child of the micro family, the common micros anyway. It's because they're just kind of floppy and they're long, and they have hole issues, and they have mold issues and all kinds of stuff. But I'm here to tell you they are so worth it, because they are the best microgreen in my opinion. They are so tasty. There's the sunflowers today. They're looking fantastic. Look how solided up. Solided up? Is that a word? Look how solided up it got. Oh me. Stiffening is a very good thing. Now the thing you want to key in on with sunflowers is the true leaf that's just beginning to grow. When that gets where it's coming out, and you can see it pretty prevalent in most of them, you can eat them. If that gets too large, it'll begin to get bitter. Sunflowers are looking awesome today. They got the two little true leaves starting to pop out. It is time to harvest these bad boys. Looking great. All right, we'll assess everything that came from this grow. This is the tray. I put it in another bottom here just so I could harvest it. And you can see here that I cut it with these scissors, and I cut it close but above the seed. As I pulled the harvest out and put it on this Dixie plate, I think it's Dixie, anyway, it's a paper plate, it's about 12 inches diameter. As I pulled it out, I had pieces, some pieces like this here, that, you know, that were salvageable. I'm trying to do it with one hand. See how I pulled that piece off there? Now that is a good looking piece of microgreens that I didn't want to waste. So these you can toss, or you can take a little bit extra time, like I just did here with these two, and add them to the overall harvest. Now this is what I got from all of this after picking off pieces that weren't something that I would use or eat. and obviously the majority of it's in here. So I know most of you are wondering how much of a harvest did I get. This is my hand, and just by comparison, and it always amazes me how much is actually produced from these grows. It just, you know, when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's not going to be very much, but it's quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and do similar to what I've always done. I'm going to put the same paper plate. Well, let me take this one off. There's another one underneath it here. And I'm going to put this over here for a moment. And I've got an empty paper plate here just to take the weight off of the scale. That way when I weigh it, it'll only be the microgreens. So the first thing I need to do is zero out the scale, and I put a cup on here to elevate the microgreens so that I can see the overall weight there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that weight on here, and then it says 27, a little bit fluctuating, 28.27, right at 28. I'm going to tear it out, hopefully. Stop. 28, 27 point, stop. Okay, I've got it zeroed out now. Now I'm going to take this tray, remember this plate's already been subtracted along with this cup, and whatever we put on here is the amount we're going to get in grams, and then I'll try to switch it to ounces at the same time. It's a balancing act. But the reason why I use a cup because it's small at the base and larger at the top. Now I see 326.8 grams roughly. All right, well, you know what, my battery died on my camera, so let's start over. All right, I think because the table is plastic, it's pliable, it's not letting this rest solidly, so I'm getting a little bit of fluctuation in the readings. So first thing I do is I put the plate and the cup on here to zero it out. And then I take the plate off. That way all I'm getting is the weight of the microgreens. Put this back on top here. Further balancing it. A little extra one there. All right, I see 325.46, just over 325 grams. Let's set that to ounces. That's 11.5 ounces, 11.49 ounces. That's a good bit for that little bitty Amazon tray, isn't it? That's a lot, actually. Anyway, this is Brent, you guys. That's sunflowers. And yeah, these things are absolutely wonderful. They're my favorite. Let me taste one. There's a reason why they're my favorite. It's because they're really good. Anyway, we'll see you soon in the next video. The way I sanitize before I wash is I just take these trays, and I think there's 3 there plus a few extra trays that I use to wash the microgreens or to harvest the microgreens and what have you. Anyway, that's what I do. I just put them in the 5-gallon bucket there, and I put a cup of bleach in the water before I put them in, mix it, then I put that in, then top it off, and then I just use the Clorox bottle itself just to keep it underneath the water. And what that does is you can leave it for any amount of time you want. Eventually that Clorox is going to dissipate anyway, just like in a swimming pool. But I'm going to leave it in there for a few hours, and then I'll take it out and just wash it with some liquid detergent, dishwashing liquid in other words, and water, and then it's ready to go for another one. There may be an instance, and you'll be able to tell when you restart the bubbler, that a hole might need to be cleaned out just a little bit. That happens from time to time, maybe every other grow. And all you do is just take a little needle and stick it in the hole, just, you know, like a sewing needle. So that's all there is to it. I'm going to put this at the end of all 3 of these new videos just so it's findable for anybody who watches these videos.
How long do we gotta stay here for people we don't know in one lines? All of the clothes are designer, fast cars and who knows who. Yeah, I know what they wanna say. They're gonna ask me if I'm gonna make it. I don't